How many of you in here would like actually make more money than you do now? How many of you are not going to raise your hand even if I ask a completely blatantly obvious question? Alright, there we go, right over right. See, you guys. Alright. According to my proponent, a comprehensive immigration reform would create jobs and a system of security for all illegal immigrants. Now, like my first question to you, it's completely vague, and it leads you to an answer of yes. Now, well, my problem with this whole speech was that a comprehensive immigration reform does not say one way or another how she would like to reform immigration. And with something like this, which is close to a claim of policy on what it should or should not be, it needs to be specific in whether or not she wants to reform it so that all illegal immigrants in the United States are citizens, that we deport the illegal immigrants. How are we going to be reforming our immigration laws as we have them right now? She supports this claim with the claims that it benefits the economy and that it boosts earnings for American workers from these immigrants that are already in the United States. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how these arguments are flawed and sometimes just completely wrong. Now, to say that we need a comprehensive immigration reform is not only vague, but it doesn't actually address the true issue of what we are going to do with the 11 million illegal immigrants that we have in the United States. Now, with the laws that we have in place, obviously these people have already arrived in the United States, they've been living here, they've been working here. How are new laws going to change the fact that they are already here? Is it going to magically deport them back to whatever country they came from? Is it going to, encourage them to sign up for some type of program that says, hey, we've been living here for this long and we haven't done anything illegal, or we are not terrorists? There's no real sense in what she's actually claiming about how immigration should be reformed. Now, if we did reform immigration, she says that it would, to have them leave or to keep them here, benefits the economy. Most people who are immigrating to the United States illegally do not have the money or the means to do so legally. Because they don't have the money or the means to do so legally, when they arrive here, they are legal immigrants and they're taking jobs that are going to be paying somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 a year. With the way that our economy is set up and the way that we tax people who live here that make that sort of money in the $20,000 to $30,000 range or less, our tax system is designed so that they don't really pay that much in taxes and often are actually getting money back every year from the amount of taxes that they pay. In no way does that actually benefit our economy. Another point against that is just that with someone who's making $20,000 to $30,000 a year, most of that money is going towards their living expenses, it's going towards food that they're buying, where they're living, and if their family was that bad off, a lot of the times those people who are working here and making that little amount of money, whatever extra money that they have, they're sending back home to support their family members. That money is not going back into our economy to support growth or new jobs. The third point that she makes is that immigration boosts earnings for American workers. Now, unskilled workers, like the vast majority of the people that arrive here illegally, are not going to be taking the high-paying, the elite jobs. What they're going to be doing is crowding the unskilled, low-paying jobs that our job market is already too full of. There are millions of Americans, or millions of citizens, every year that are unemployed because the job market is too overcrowded. With more and more immigrants arriving every day that are unskilled or undocumented, that job market is only getting more and more crowded. Now, an immigration reform may or may not help. We don't know what kind of an immigration reform my advocate, or Daniela, was even advocating in her speech. She's not saying one way or another that she would like the law to be more lenient, she would like the illegal immigrants here to be made citizens. There's no real direction in which she actually makes any type of claim. But to say that it benefits the economy or that it would boost earnings for American workers is just false. Thank you. Where did I sit?
You made it pull off, that was on the racist, good job.
What? what?
You pulled it off without sounding racist.
Sounding racist?
Yeah.
I know. I was born in Italy. Like yeah, never mind.
Your armed forces, right? Your pops.
Well, I was born in Italy. My parents are born citizens, so I was naturally a citizen. I'm totally white, don't worry about it. Yeah. No. Saying that you're I just pull it off. That's not racist. I like that.
I'm very smart. Yeah. The movie with those puppets.
Team America.
There you go.
I like their theme song. America.
They'll do it?
All right, well, you handled the audience survey moment pretty effectively at the beginning. Obviously, it's one of those things whenever you give control to the audience, things might not go quite as you planned, and that makes it a little awkward. But you moved and transitioned to your topic pretty well and suggested basically what's happened is that the advocate has basically phrased their question the same way, making something sound particularly promising without being very clear as to what it is that they are talking about. And I appreciate the ambiguity on that. I do think that there's a general concession as to what the concept of comprehensive immigration reform means, but there is a wide latitude within that area as to what it would cover. Basically, it does concern a combination of things that are being discussed, and which one of those things produces the desirable outcome. For instance, there would be some controversy on. So we would tighten the border restrictions and the immigration rules, but we would also try to find paths to permanent residency or citizenship or legal status for those who are here illegally. That's generally what the concept means. Now, do the benefits occur because we regularize the people who are already here working, or because we are clearer about keeping people who aren't here at the moment out, or requiring more strict enforcement of the laws as a consequence to those folks? That's, I think, a legitimate challenge on the causality argument that you could be making. The vagueness argument, I think, is okay. It's pretty reasonable to make, but there are plenty of arguments, I think, that you could be making about the supposed benefits that need to be developed, but they need some research, and that seems to be something that's missing from the argument. Most of the information that you're presenting, well, there isn't really any information. There are a lot of assertions in the presentation, and I didn't really hear any sources being cited on this. As an example, when you talk about the average wages that people are going to be making, you put them into a job category where their wages are going to be $20,000 to $30,000 a year, and then you basically claim that those people would be paying relatively nothing in taxes as a result, so that's not going to be a benefit to the economy. Both of those things are asserted. I can understand the general basis of that information, but I don't know that most of the illegal immigrants fit into that particular category, and that they pay no taxes or very little taxes needs some documentation on this particular point. Because I hear a lot of information, and I don't remember if the advocate presented information on this that suggests that they make big contributions in taxes as a result, whether it is in income taxes or some other kind of tax that they pay, probably user fees, for instance, sales tax, that sort of thing. That might be the issue where there is an economic benefit that's going on there. I do think there's a good argument to be made here, though, that says, look, they're already here, they're already working, they're already doing this. The only difference is, will they be regularized? So what's going to be the difference when it comes to a benefit in the economy? Today, when they're illegal. There are 11 million of them working and doing this thing and paying taxes and all that. Tomorrow, when they are regularized, there'll be 11 million of them working in the same kinds of jobs, paying the same kinds of taxes. So what difference does it make? That, I think, is an appropriate question to ask. And that's a valid point that I think you are kind of getting at on this particular point, although you don't say it that way. You know, the challenge on the boosting to the earnings, you know, still basically, you know, sticks to the idea that most of them are going to be unskilled laborers. You know, they arrive here because they don't have the money. That was another one of those presuppositions that they come here for the jobs, and the reason they come illegally is because they can't afford the legal form of immigration. I think that that's a big presupposition also. There's a whole suggestion that people basically come here for temporary purposes rather than long-term purposes. You know, a lot of them, they're just looking for a job any place. Here's a job up here, I'm gonna come and get that job and hopefully be able to make it. Do they plan on living here forever? Some of them do, some of them don't, some of them go back and forth. So, but that's one of those things that would be easier to understand if there was some data, and we don't have a lot of data. All right, thank you very much.